Okay, so here we are a month later, and I want to share with you why I think the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is the best phone on the market. Notice I didn't say the best Android phone, but this is the best phone on the market. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, first things first, I know that determining whether a device, a phone or a tablet or whatever the case may be, determining whether it is the best on the market is fairly subjective, right? It wouldn't make sense for me to say that this is the best phone to someone who's looking for a budget phone. But the thing here is that the general consensus in the tech community is that this phone right here really wins it all. And I would have to agree, right? I've been using it for well over a month, and this guy here really hands down just wins it in pretty much every category. And I'm saying this as someone who uses the iPhone 13 Pro Max in his rotation along with the Pixel 6 Pro. Now, generally when I use an Android phone, I would just use one at a time. I would do one Android and an iOS phone, right? So when I don't use the Pixel 6 Pro, I'll be using the S22 Ultra, which it has been the case actually for the past month. But anyway, saying that this is the best phone on the market doesn't necessarily mean that it is a perfect phone. There is no such thing, right? But darn it, if this thing doesn't come as close to perfect as one would, I don't know. Now, it doesn't also mean that it's all giggles all the way, right? There are quite a few things that I don't like about this phone, quite a few things that many people dislike about the phone here. The first one could even just be the price, right? You're looking at $1,200 if you want to pick up this baby right here, or $1,300 if you go for the 256 gigs model like the one that I have here. Now, the good thing is that Samsung generally has, constant deals on these phones. So if you were trying to grab one, you are likely going to pick up one at a good deal. And also make sure to always check out the links that I have in the descriptions. Those generally lead you to deals. Now, on top of that, another thing that I dislike about the phone is the fact that it does not come with a charger, but that is the case with pretty much every major brand right now. Every time they just push out phones without chargers out there. Now let's circle back to the best things about this phone, starting off with the display. I want to say this: the display on the S22 Ultra is the best display I've used on any phone, period. For as long as I've been using phones, the display on this bad boy right here is simply the best. And by the way, if this is your first time visiting, welcome to the channel. Of course, I'm certainly hoping that you are enjoying the content so far, which if you are, I truly appreciate it. Please do me a favor, hit both the like and the subscribe button there. I truly appreciate that. But anyway, now because the phone itself is a big boy, the display here is pretty tall. So it's a big display and it's also slightly curved, right? We're looking at a 6.8 inches here. And as you would imagine, it is an AMOLED display. The resolution is 1440 by 3088. So yeah, it is a QHD plus display and it is insanely bright. So if you were to use it outside, you can't even notice the difference. It's just so beautiful. And we're talking 1750 nits for peak brightness here. Again, insanely bright, just beautiful. Things look just awesome on here. Images are super sharp, super crisp. The colors here, whether you are inside or outside, look very, very, very nice, super vibrant. Watching movies here is just an experience, right? Now, Samsung makes top level displays for other manufacturers, so you would only imagine that for their own phone they would make a beautiful display. Now, if you want to keep the resolution that high, right, at QHD plus, obviously the battery will suffer, but you can always make the adjustment based off the content that you're watching or that you're consuming and be able to manage your battery that way. Besides, Samsung just offers a plethora of ways for you to optimize battery and be able to have your battery last longer, especially for this phone, right? Last longer because the phone is set to be supported longer. This is part of the newer generation of Samsung phones or Samsung devices that are set to be supported for 5 years. So 4 years for major updates and 5 years for security updates. So if you wanted to optimize the use of your battery in order to make your phone or the overall phone last longer, Samsung has a number of ways for you to go into settings and toggle things on and off in order to make that happen. And since we are talking battery right now, battery on here is amazing. I'm getting a good 7.5 SOT, right? So overall, I'm lasting about a day and a half. It might depend on your type of usage, right? With me, I consider myself to be a power user, and it does last a day to it. Well over a day, so it lasts into the second day. I charge it every night, but it definitely would last into the next day on days that I don't charge at night. Now, flipping back to design here, I went for the sky blue color. I absolutely love this color, probably because blue is my favorite color. And of course, I know I upset some people when I say that this kind of feels plasticky to me, like the side here. It still does, right? It's subjective. That's how I feel, right? But in terms of overall design of the phone, of course, it is a beautiful design. I feel like all phones should have this setup when it comes down to cameras. This looks just so elegant. It looks so fine, so clean, right? So neat. I absolutely love this. And I have to be frank, when I first saw the renders, I did not like it. But when I actually got to look at it in real life, beautiful. Just so clean. But anyway, as I said already, it is a pretty big phone, right? You will notice the form factor. It truly is big. It's very similar to what we had on the Note, where you have those sharp edges that kind of dig in your hand so that, you know, you can grip the phone properly. So my overall take as far as the form factor goes, it's perfect. I have large hands and it fits just perfectly in my hands, right? Ergonomics are just fantastic on here. When I grip this phone, yeah, no way I can actually drop it. I do have a case for it, but I like to just rock it naked whenever I can, right? Because it's so nice. But anyway, and then we have the usual suspects, right? So you have the power button, volume rocker, you know, USB Type-C port, of course, and the Samsung S Pen. Now, I'm going to start off with the bad, right? It's not necessarily that it's a bad thing. This pen, because I have large hands, it doesn't feel that comfortable, probably because I'm used to using just my Galaxy tablet, like the S7, which one is it? This is the S8 that I have here, which comes with its own S Pen, which is like a regular size pen, right? So going from this, and I use tablets like throughout the day. I'm constantly on the tablet. So I get so used to this pen that when I switch over to this, it just feels so tiny and so small. But anyway, that's just a personal thing. This S Pen is the most modern that Samsung has out there for a phone, and you get to store it right in the phone. Now, we're not going to go into the detail as what you can do with it, but you can do a number of things, including using it as a remote for your phone. Now, still sticking with some of the accessibility that you would find on this here, the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is super impressive. One of my favorite features with Apple has always been Touch ID, just because of how fast and how secure it is. This ultrasonic fingerprint scanner is almost just as fast as Touch ID. It is wicked fast. Like, as soon as you touch it, it just unlocks the phone. And I'm also going to add that just Face Unlock on here, for some reason, works very well, and I really appreciate whatever update, whatever changes Samsung made to make that happen. Very, very nice stuff. So I think that's all we have to highlight in terms of accessibility and usual suspects. Again, the S Pen will allow you to do a number of things, right? Quick notes, you know, writing and sending animated messages, all that good stuff. We're not going to go into the details. I believe I did that in my full review of the phone. Now, let's go ahead and talk about performance. And for this, I don't want to dwell on it too long. Of course, this is running a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, which is just top notch, right? That's what you want in a phone like this. In other words, it is a beast. It handles everything just like butter. It's amazing. I don't want to say any more than that. It is top notch. You do have that coupled with Android 12 here, along with One UI 4.1. It's just such a beautiful mix of things. And when I talked about display, I don't know that I mentioned the high refresh rate here. Obviously, Quad HD Plus refresh rate here at up to 120 Hertz. So everything is silky smooth. So you combine all of those specs, beautiful user experience. Now, the next thing I want to talk about here is something that is very popular with this phone. It's the camera. Hands down, the best on the market. I don't care what anyone says. It is the best camera on the market right now, except there's one situation with the shutter, right? The shutter lag, for a lot of people who don't know, is just how fast it takes pictures as soon as you press the shutter. By the way, Samsung did drop an update for that. Kind of a silent update. I personally didn't even know about it until Derek mentioned it. It improved the lag. People have always complained about the lag, you know, when you compare that to something like the Pixel 6 Pro, for example. As soon as it's instantaneous, right? As soon as you press, it goes. But the lag has certainly improved. I'm gonna say it's been cut down. It works faster than it did before. That's something to add there. Now, beyond that, when it comes down to just the quality of the camera, and I'm talking both photos and videos, this is hands down my all-time. This is my go-to. I was actually in Texas for about a day and a half, well, let's say 2 days, for a graduation and a couple birthdays, and we were sitting all the way up in the stand at the graduation, and I could zoom into my little niece as she was sitting there, you know, ready to graduate. I could zoom into her, and the picture quality was still very, very good. That 100 times zoom, I tell you, is not a gimmick. It truly works. Now, in terms of specs here, the wide, or the main camera, is pushing a whopping 108 megapixel. So very solid specs here. Still solid specs here, you know, when you look at the S21 Ultra also. The ultra wide is a 12 megapixel, and the 10x telephoto is pushing 10 megapixel. Now, one thing to notice is that, you know, when you take videos, right, the longer the video, the warmer your phone is going to get. I did notice that when I was testing out, you know, 8K videos and 4K videos. So keep that in mind. Now, I don't want to keep going here. We could talk about so many things when it comes down to this phone, but here's the bottom line. If you were on the fence, you know, about buying this phone, just go ahead and pull the trigger, right? If you are looking for a top level flagship phone that is considered to be the best right now on the market, just go ahead and go for it, right? And this is, again, if you are shopping for a flagship phone. Obviously, if you're looking for a budget phone and all that good stuff, make sure to go for something else. Make sure to check out the links. If you are in the market for this guy here, make sure to check out the links that I will have in the description. Those would generally lead you to, you know, the current best deals that you can find either on Samsung or on Best Buy, wherever the case may be. Let me know what any questions you may have in regards to this phone. I will catch you in the comment section. I'm also going to catch you in the next video. As always, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Of course, I'm going to catch you in the next video. And as always, of course, stay safe out there.